What is up, guys? I'm Quincy Carrier, and I'm here on this episode of Q&A to answer your questions, questions you asked me all week on Twitter and on YouTube. I answer them here in video format in the show, so let's get it started. All right, and the first question comes from C. Zachary Chad, who says, do you think buying season tickets this year are worth it for the 2020 Browns season? I don't want to tell people how to spend their money or where they should spend their money. But I will say I'm not buying season tickets for the 2020 season. That's for multiple reasons. I don't have that level of faith in the ownership anymore for me to do it. I don't have that level of just blind excitement in order to just plop down that money. And honestly, for me, for what I do, it's actually a lot better for the content on this channel if I watch the games from the TV broadcast, because what happens if I watch the game in the stadium, I normally have to come back, watch it on the TV broadcast, because that's what everybody who's going to watch this video saw. So I have to make sure I'm not missing any story points or anything that I wouldn't have caught in the stadium. So, it turns what is normally a 3-4 hour progress for me into like an 8-12 hour thing, which sometimes makes these videos come out slower and sometimes even worse. So for me, no, it's not worth the season tickets, but that's for personal reasons. But for you, it may be worth it. Are you planning on going to more than 3 Browns home games this season? If that's you, yeah, I'd probably recommend getting the season tickets, because you could save money and sell the tickets that you're not going to go to kind of recoup your money at the back end. But if you're somebody who usually considers maybe going to one home game or two, then you just buy the single game tickets. That'd be much easier for you. That'd be much cheaper, and that'd save you a lot of hassle. But, if you're somebody who's already going to go to 3 to 4 home games, then you might as well get the season tickets in order to, do your thing with them. But that's my recommendation on that. Next question comes from Brian B., who says, keep up the great work. I always try. I have a really good feeling about this coaching staff. I feel a lot better about this upcoming year as opposed to this past year. What do you think? I'm not going to lie, I felt much better about what the upcoming season would be last year than I did this year. But I'm also more confident that what I hope is going to happen is going to be what happens. And that is, I think the Browns are going to go 10-6 this year. I think that's a pretty safe bet. I'm pretty sure that is what's going to happen. I thought that was going to be what happened regardless of whatever changes they made, and I don't think that has really changed because of the changes. I don't think they've been that bad that the immediate future of this team has just been trash. Now, that can change in the upcoming months, but for right now, this is a 10-6 football team. They should go 10-6. 8-8 would be a disaster again. Well, not a disaster, but it would be below expectations. I think 10-6 is where this team's going to be. But last year I thought this team was going to be 2 games better than that, and I was really excited. Now it's kind of a more wait and see kind of thing, and I really do believe they're going to be 10-6. I'm just not as excited because I'm more confident in it, if that makes any sense. I'm sorry if I'm not comprehensible. How did I mess up? All right, man, I'm just going to move on to the next question. Next question comes from Donut Nizzle. Yeah, all right. And they say, how do you think the Browns should go about upgrading the defensive line? They need some beef on the inside, and they need an actual pass rusher outside of Myles Garrett. And I don't know what's been the problem with finding consistent production on the opposite side of Myles Garrett. But for as productive as Myles Garrett is, it seems that they can never find somebody who can be serviceable on the opposite side of him. Sure, Olivier Vernon did look like he could do that for a couple of games, but outside of that, he looked invisible out there. And then we talk about the interior of this defensive line. People are going to laugh at me when I say this, but the Browns have had a problem stopping the interior run since they've gotten rid of Danny Shelton and Jamie Meter. And I know Jamie Meter plays football absolutely nowhere now, but I think there is something important to that not recovering from losing those two big bodies on the inside. And that's because the Browns have not committed to having big bodies on the inside. Sheldon Richardson is not a huge body. Larry Ogunjobi is undersized. He's more of a pass rushing defensive tackle. Even when they had guys like Devereaux Lawrence last year that were bigger, more stout inside guys, they got rid of them in the middle of the season. That's the problem with the defensive line, is that there's no beef in between the ends, nobody there to suck up double teams. So you essentially have two ends dealing with two separate double teams because you can one-on-one on the inside, which ultimately means is that it doesn't matter that Myles Garrett's on the other side demanding a double team, because nobody on the inside is worth a double team. The guy on the other side still has to deal with the double team. So that's why we don't have production on the other side of the line. That's why guys come in here and don't benefit from Myles Garrett being on the other side, because they have not put beef on the defensive line. They need some damn beef. They need to put some big guys in here who are going to demand a double team. I've been saying it for 3 years. They haven't done it. Hopefully they decide to get some beef in here. But if they go small in the interior defensive line again, expect whoever is opposite of Myles Garrett. It could be Vic Beasley for all I care, but expect whoever is on the opposite side of that defensive line to struggle, because they have no help next to them on the interior of the defensive line. It's been a huge problem since the last regime left. Since before John Dorsey, this was a problem. It didn't get fixed during Dorsey. It didn't get fixed during Sachi, and hopefully it's going to get fixed under Andrew Berry, but we'll see. I'm going to take a wait and see approach with that, just like this season. But thank you for the question. This question comes from Elijah Bush, who says, "What's up, bro? Keep up the great work. A supporter from Maple Heights." Shout out to you. Shout out to Maple Heights. That's where I grew up my entire life. Went to high school there, elementary school, middle school, all of those things I did in Maple Heights, Ohio. Fun place to grow up. And that's an inside joke if you're from the area. What do you think the Browns should do at safety if we pick up one in free agency? Who or in the draft then Q2? How do you feel about the backup QB for the Browns? All right, so the first question here is asking me, what do you think the Browns should do at safety? Should we do a draft? I think you should do free agency. Eric Rowe, Jimmy Smith might be some options there at safety. I would look at getting a veteran, but I want to wait to see what that market's actually going to be, who's going to re-sign, and who's going to be franchise tag before I go too deep into detail with that. The second question is, what do you feel about the backup quarterback situation for the Browns? Right now, you keep it the same, honestly. I don't think that's really relevant. The fact of the matter is that, if Baker Mayfield goes down, that's the season, and that's just how it is. You might be able to get something out of, I don't even know who they're going to throw back there, Garrett Gilbert. But the problem with getting a strong backup quarterback, especially when you're going to be starting with a new regime and a new head coach, is that it sends a very bad message in the locker room. And that message is that we don't trust our starting quarterback. And for what the Browns are doing right now and the situation they're in, if they're really committed to Baker Mayfield, then it'd be best not to send those kind of mixed signals, especially with who knows what this season's going to end up being. Baker Mayfield could have a breakout. He could be due up for a contract soon. And you want to make sure that relationship is as pristine as possible. If you hope that Baker Mayfield take less so you can keep Myles Garrett's of the world and, and Kareem Hunt's and, the Nick Chubbs of the world, so it's going to be something that I would stay away from. I wouldn't get a big name backup quarterback in Cleveland. I wouldn't think that's a good idea. The next question comes from 5-Pack Gaming, who says, do you think Myles Garrett is going to be as effective as he was in the last 2 seasons? Of course. Why wouldn't he be? He has gotten better every single year. I know he missed the end of last season, but honestly, I look at it this way. Myles Garrett got the sit for the last 6 weeks of the season. He's probably way more healthy than he's ever been. So he's going to come into camp. He had like kind of a nagging ankle thing going on. That's hopefully going to be recovered fully. And I think we're going to see the most healthy, most spry, athletic version of Myles Garrett that we've seen in a Browns uniform, which is scary. So, yeah, I have no qualms about Myles Garrett this season. Next question comes from Kevin Durant's burner account. With the schedule being announced, realistically, with Stefanski as head coach, what's your prediction for this team? 10-6. 10-6. I feel pretty good about 10-6. I think Baker's going to take a step. I think this offense is going to look a lot better because, guys like Jarvis, it looked like Baker and Jarvis got that chemistry together at the end of last season. So that would indicate that Odell and Baker are going to get this chemistry together in year 2. Nick Chubb is still going to be around and hopefully utilized more in the Stefanski system, along with Kareem Hunt. And then hopefully they use David Njoku and upgrade the line a little bit. They don't even have to do that much. Defensively, they don't really have to do much to get to 10-6. I think the offense can get you to 10-6, but if they can add some beef in the interior line, and maybe another pass rusher, I think that'd do a world of difference for this defense. But that's what I think next season's going to be. Thank you for the question, Kevin. Next question comes from America's Underdog, who says, if you had to choose what 2 free agents would you like to see the Browns go after this offseason? I think I said this earlier, but probably Jimmy Smith and Eric Rowe. I want some veteran defensive backs in the offseason. Next question comes from Stuart Anderson, who says, what would you want the Browns to sign Brandon Sheriff, and for how much money would realistically be offered to him? No, I don't want the Browns to offer Brandon Sheriff. I think if you can get rid of Olivier Vernon's money, which is like getting rid of Zeitler's contract early, there's a reason you don't want to spend that much money on both of your guards, because you'll also be spending a ton of money on Joe Bitonio. You'll be spending a ton of money on your center, J.C. Treader. And then, whatever you have to do at right and left tackle too. That's going to be expensive. So I don't think you have the money and the luxury to spend, the $13 to $15 million you might need to in salary cap in order to land a guy like Brandon Sheriff, who is a great guard, but I just don't think the Browns' problem is they had bad guard play as much as it was the bad tackle play that plagued the Browns. The next question comes from Giants Nation, and I think this is the last question. He says, what's up, Quincy? How you doing today? My question is, do you think Andrew Luck is coming back to the NFL? I think he just needed a year off to relax and come back. He will come back and wait. It's the Patriots, but what's your opinion? That seemed like, to me, a guy who was pretty okay with his decision to quit football and has no hunkering to come back. He'll always get asked the question. It's just going to be part of his life. But, I don't think Andrew Luck wants to come back and play football. I don't think that's in his plans. I think he's done. I think he is. It's not the injuries and the pain from the injuries that has made him want to retire. It's the mental torment that he has endured from what it takes to rehabilitate from those injuries. I don't think he's in physical pain as much as he just dreads the mental strain that comes with rehabilitating from major injuries. And I think that is going to keep him out. He can play if he wanted, but I think he just would rather not risk injuring himself in that way and having the pressure to rebuild himself in that way as well. I think he is just at peace with it, which honestly to me makes a ton of sense. So I don't think he's coming back. I don't think he's going to play for the Patriots. I think he's done. I think Andrew Luck is done now. Of course, with my luck, he's going to unretire tomorrow, and I'm going to look like a complete clown. But hopefully that doesn't happen. But that's it for this week's Q&A. Thank you guys for watching. And if you haven't, please hit that notification bell so you can be notified when I upload. Sometimes YouTube likes to get funny about if they show you my videos or not. So hit that notification bell so there is no question. And that's also how you can make sure your questions hit this show. And then also follow me on Twitter if you want to ask questions. But thank you guys for watching. Have a great day. Have a good night.